Now I want to introduce you to two people who've done this really landmark study and into the use of a mobile health device that's built into one of these common things that so many of us have, a smartphone. And it's a real game changer for our health and catching things, specific things, before they happen. So it's my pleasure to welcome Nicole Lowres and Ben Freedman. Thank you for coming. Hi.
Hi.
What a warm audience. Ben, what's the background to this study? What happens here?
Well, we had a need to try and prevent stroke. Most people have never heard of an abnormal heart rhythm called atrial fibrillation, or AF. But this abnormal rhythm is responsible for 1/3 of all strokes. Half of those, the person who has the stroke did not know they had AF at the time they had the stroke. And it's almost completely preventable if you could find it before they had the stroke. So we really thought we could screen for this if we could pick it up quickly. To do that, you need an electrocardiograph, or ECG. And to do this, normally you have to lie down, take off your clothes, have multiple wires put on you.
I've had one of those, yeah. And it takes about 15, 20 minutes, maybe longer?
Yeah, it takes a little while just because you have to sit in, get down. Not the sort of thing you could do for community screening. And we were trying to investigate what we could use that would do this. And we tried a lot of things. Nicole will tell you we tested a number of
What were you
devices.
testing? So I mean, obviously, we'll talk about the device that you ended up studying in a moment, but what else was out there?
So we were looking at portable handheld ECGs that could be used by anybody without having to take their hands off. So you just put your fingers on the electrodes. And we tested at least, well, maybe 6 or 7 different devices before we found this one, which we eventually used.
Okay, so you said that most people don't know that they have AF, and why is that? What is the reason for that in the community?
Well, as you get older, when you get AF, it's not really fast, whereas when you're younger, you generally know that you've got it. And most of the strokes occur in older people. And when they get the abnormal heart rhythm and they're picked up, we ask them if they have any symptoms. They don't have any symptoms. They would never go to a doctor because they don't have any symptoms. They feel fine. They're just walking around with a time bomb. And if we could pick up that time bomb and treat it, then perhaps we might prevent the stroke that's going to happen.
And that's where finding just the right device to test in the community was so important. So, Nicole, how did you come across this AliveCore device?
We actually did a Google search of all things and found the device on Google.
On the master of all information online?
Absolutely.
Yes.
And we contacted...
It was actually in use in cats, wasn't it? They were using it as a veterinary device.
It was, yes, it was being used
Cats
in
get
cats
AF,
and
yes.
horses.
So they get better care than humans before humans get it. Good to know.
And we contacted the company and said, look, we'd like to trial your device. We're planning this study. And we actually got a rejection from the company and said, sorry, it's still in development stage. You can't use it. And then, as things would have it, one of the Australian partners of AliveCore had previously been working with Ben on another Nokia, the first transmitted ECG program, quite a few years ago, and then he contacted us.
He's a bioengineer who actually was the brains behind the bits of the device that he built. And he'd seen something that I'd published some years before on transmission to a mobile phone of an electrocardiograph. I was on a yacht at the time, and it was a Nokia 9000, that brick that was the first mobile device that you could do this with.
So this is the origins of this device, but we might as well have a look at the device now and have a test of it. So is anybody willing to be tested randomly in the audience? Can you maybe pop up here?
I can pop down there.
Oh, you can pop down there. Okay, yeah, let's do that.
What would work better?
Come on down, jump over the chairs. We're coming to you live, of course, from the studio here at the Sydney Opera House, and we're about to test the device called the AliveCore device. Come on up, thank you.
Come and have a seat.
So talk us through it, Nicole.
So this is the device. Basically, it's just a cover on the mobile phone. And we open up the phone, get you to hold really gently the phone in both hands, fingers on that, another hand on that, and just lie it very relaxed in your lap. So the more relaxed you can be, the better the reading. And I just open the app and we wait for a moment. And apart from your fast heart rate being on stage, we'll just wait for it to settle down. So when you move,
This is
Stay still.
You're
yes,
actually
this
getting
is a pretty
really
normal
good-
heartbeat, but it's fast, so it's showing a bit
and
of
then
excitement.
you've got a
which is
very
good.
normal ECG there when there's no movement. It's perfect. So within 30 seconds, we've got another few seconds to go, you'll have a complete ECG.
That's amazing. So instead of 20 minutes taking off your shirt, lying in a hospital room, feeling uncomfortable, you can go and do this anywhere. And you're testing this sort of thing at
That's it.
chemists, is that right, Ben?
That's
And
right.
then we can see, by reviewing it on, that's when you're moving, you can review the ECG and then it can be sent to the server where a cardiologist or a doctor anywhere can review it.
And is our friendly volunteer okay? Everything's good?
And he's fine.
Oh, yeah, round of applause,
Tachycardia,
yay.
but otherwise fine. And behind us is what you will actually see on the screen, is not our friend's ECG, but one pre-recorded.
Yes, this is a pre-recorded slower heartbeat.
So is this technology already available? And I know you've tested this in chemists around Australia as part of this study, but when can we, if we want this, if we are...
Now.
You can get it now. And how much does it cost?
Less than $300.
$290 or something like that.
Well, I mean, it's really interesting to me, this kind of device, obviously, that anybody can use, anybody can have. Ben, how do you think then that... I mean, I suppose, how do you envisage the future of mobile healthcare with this kind of equipment, this kind of technology?
Well, the thing that we were doing was a very specific question, and that was how can you go out into the community to look for a pretty common abnormal heart rhythm that has a major significance. So that's one way that it could be used for screening, and it could be used in community pharmacies, as we've done. It could be used in general practice. We have also used it in general practice with both practice nurses and even the receptionist recording the ECG, so that by the time the person sees their doctor, they've got a diagnosed recorded ECG in front of them without the patient having to do anything. I think that's one way it could be used. But if people are having symptoms that could be caused by an abnormal heart rhythm, they could just be given one of these devices, carry it around and say, well, whenever you feel this symptom, just take it out and make a recording. Immediately it goes to your doctor and he can tell whether that symptom is related to abnormal heart rhythm or not.
And
Amazing.
the other thing that we are testing at the moment is people who've had an episode in hospital and they've been sent home. We're giving them the phone and the device to take home and do their own recordings over a period of a month to see if that heart problem returns.
It's absolutely transformative. Well, it's really fantastic to hear about what you guys have done with the landmark study on the AliveCore device, and I do thank you for coming. Very quickly though, what's your greatest lesson worth sharing, Nicole?
Oh, I think it's that all the journey is made up of so many challenges, and I've had to really enjoy each of the challenges to enjoy the entire journey and not just the final outcome.
And Ben, your greatest lesson worth sharing?
Well, I think it's exactly the same lesson as I took from history. Einthoven, who invented the ECG, really, married a real need with a bright idea, a couple of bright ideas. And to get the ECG into practice, he had to transmit an ECG on a person in a hospital who had a problem to his device, which was 300 kilograms, requiring 5 people to use it, about 2 kilometres away. And he did this through the telephone line. And he did it in 1906. Without that, the ECG would never have become a clinical tool, never. So what we did was just do something else. We had a clinical need. We wanted to prevent stroke. We needed something that would be transformative. If you marry that with a bright idea, which is not just recording the ECG, but instantly transmitting it, and then having a smarts on either the phone or a server to say, well, we can diagnose it immediately with high accuracy, you suddenly have a screening test that will work.
That will work, absolutely. Remarkable stuff. And I do thank my guests, Professor Ben Freedman and Nicole Lowres from the University of Sydney. Round of applause. Thank you so much. Thank you.